What's up, Rebecca? How are you?
How's it going? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. What's good?
How's it going?
Tell us where you're at, what you're doing.
I am sitting in my boat in my living room with Hobbs, the boat dog.
Oh, right on. Hobbs the boat dog. So everyone, we got Hobbs, we got Rebecca. Back to that, it's called Pack Rafting with Dogs. First question, we always like to do a break the ice question. If you had any superpower in the world, what would that be?
Ooh, teleporting, for sure. Like, ping, I'm in Bali. Ping, I'm at your mom's house, you know?
That's mine. That's what I say too. Thanks for that. If you could go anywhere in the world on a pack rafting trip right now, what's your dream trip look like?
I really want to go to Slovenia. I keep seeing pictures of the rivers there, and they're just that beautiful crystal turquoise, and it looks awesome, and I want to go play there.
So is your ever Zach, currently Zach, one of the crew members from Pocatello, did a good trip out there, and if you check out at Zach Righteous on Instagram, you can check out some pictures of his trip out there. We also have some partner guides out in Slovenia and Austria areas, so do check them out. So we're gonna jump right into it. How long have you been pack rafting? When did you start paddling with your dogs?
I've been pack rafting since 2016, actually, when I discovered that pack rafts existed. And I've been paddling a Kokopelli pack raft since then. I tried to pack raft with one of my dogs, Hugo, who's a big yellow lab, but he hates being in the boat. He just wants to jump out and swim around. So when I got this guy in 2017, I started teaching him how to boat with me, like right off the bat when he was like 10 weeks old. And that worked out way better. So since 2017 with dogs.
Right on. What's your background? Where are you from? Tell us a little about where you're from and how you got to West Coast.
I am originally from Maine. I was born and raised there I lived there for 20 something years, and then I moved to New Hampshire, and then New York, and then San Diego, and now I'm in Oregon on Mount Hood.
You sound like a typical pack rafter. You never lived in one place more than 3 years. 3-year itch. I got the same thing.
I really love it here. This is definitely home.
So you did a lot of foundation work with Hobbs before hitting the water. Can you tell me about that and what is important, like the foundations for pack rafting with dogs? Your top 5, what you need to know before you even consider getting it on the water.
I think the biggest thing is just getting him used to being in the boat, period. Like, I would just blow this thing up. I'm in my recon right now, and I would just put it on the living room floor while I watch TV, and I would just put his dog bed in there and just put him in with me, and I kind of just move around, so he got used to just moving a little bit, and he would just go to sleep in it. So definitely that, and then I would just get in like tiny little bits of water. We had our backyard was flooded for a while, so I just sat in that with him in there.
Gotcha.
And then just teaching him to get in and out of the boat. Like, if I want him to get out, I'll just, toss something down there. And then if I want him to get back in, Bobby split him. He just gets in and sits down.
Does he ever jump out, or is he sitting in the whole time with him?
He sits in the whole time. I kind of taught him just through working with him off the water to just kind of get in it and chill out. And he's a pretty chill guy anyway. I feel like some dogs might just be more disposed to being boat dogs. But I just kind of trained him to chill out in here. If he got squeaky or whiny, you just kind of ignore it and wait till he calms down. And if he's chill, that's when you give him some treats. So he knows that that's what gets him treats. It's just being mellow.
Are there any other tips you recommend for people with dogs in their first paddle in terms of PPE and safety gear?
He has his own life jacket, and that's pretty important. I think dogs are pretty good swimmers naturally, but with their little life jackets, he's just got this one, and it just fits right over his head. It's nice because it's got a little handlebar on the back, so if he falls in, which has happened, it's really easy to just pick him up like he's a suitcase and bring him back in the boat. And it helps just if the water's cold. Sometimes you freeze up a little bit. So he always wears that when he's boating. Plus, it looks so cute.
How about leashes? No leashes.
No leashes. Especially in whitewater, it's not a huge issue in lakes, but if you're doing anything in moving water, no leashes on the dogs. Don't tie them to the boat because that can be a foot entrapment hazard for you. If something happens to the boat, he's stuck with it. So you want to just keep him free.
Gotcha. I've seen you started running some smaller rivers with Hobbs. What safety precautions do you take, and what did he think on the first few runs? Like, how many runs did it take him to really get dialed after all the groundwork, and then you got on the water? When did you see success?
We've only run we've run really tiny rapids with him just because it would be scary if he fell out. So just really chill stuff. But I think the biggest way to get a dog ready for any kind of adventure like that is just to make sure they trust you. More than anything else, you have to put in a lot of work just to, make sure they're bonded to you, make sure that, they know you have your back if something goes wrong. And so, when we do go through rapids, if I just, tell him like Hobbs chill and just sit down, he'll kind of just hunker down and power through it. He doesn't really love getting splashed in the face though.
Right on. Hey, for everyone that's tuning in later, we're doing an Instagram live today. It's called Pack Rafting with Dogs with our affiliate, Becca Tarbox. You can find her on Instagram at Rebecca Tarbox, right?
Yep.
And
no, Becca Tarbox. Sorry, no.
Becca Tarbox, my bad. Check out all her content. She's probably got one of the best pack rafting feeds for a female in the world. And she's a bad paddler. She's better than me. I swim more rapids than she does, probably.
I'm covered in
guaranteed.
This weekend, I look like I got in a car accident.
What's the number one question you get about pack rafting with dogs?
Do their toenails pop the raft? That is by far the thing that I hear the most often. And the answer is just no, unless they've got, dagger toenails. And I've never had a problem with any dog in a pack raft. Even in the lightest ones, they've been pretty fine. If I were going to be pack rafting with a dog a ton, I'd probably get one of the PVC ones just to make sure it's ultra durable. The Recon or the XPD. No, I mean, I've had Hobbs in my Hornet Light, which I've had for 4 years. He's been in it for 3 years, and it's never seen a hole that I haven't put in it.
Right on. So what's your favorite pack raft for pack rafting with dogs right now?
For pack rafting with dogs, I think I probably just like my old school Hornet Light the best. It's super light. It's really easy for him to get in and out of. Because it's an open deck boat. He doesn't get wet because it's a solid floor. So that's a good one.
How many dogs have you had in one pack raft? Oh, sorry.
Say that again?
Sorry, I got caught on the delay. How many dogs have you had in one pack raft at one time?
We've tried to get 3, but we've only gotten 2 in successfully. It's been Hobbs and Odessa, our husky. We tried to get the yellow lab in, but he just immediately flops himself over rails.
Right on. Do you have any other tips or recommendation for paddling with pups?
Treats, for sure. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just working on training with them in general, like just things like getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out. Just working on that over and over again, so it's just no big deal for them. And then just like I said, just making sure that they trust you. We do a lot of exercises where I'll have Hobbs load up and let me hold him. When I'm walking around and he knows I'm not going to let him go or drop him.
Gotcha.
So things like that that works well. And then just starting slow. Like if they hate it at first, just dial it back a notch and work on just sitting in the boat. Like, you know, just sit down, let them sit in your lap, give them some pets, and
Hey, I got a question for you. We got a question from Ashley Kins87. What's the recommended life jacket for pups on pack rafts? What do you recommend personally, and what do you use?
the one that I use for Hobbs is a Outward Hound. It's nice because it's super duper light, so this one's good for traveling. I have Hugo's back here. Hugo has this Roughwear one. This one's awesome because it's super durable. It's not as light for traveling around with, but it fits super well, and it doesn't come loose. So that's definitely a good one too. So.
Got you. Now, if we were going to go on an overnight trip and we're packing for ourselves and we're packing for dogs, think about the PPE you got to take based on safety concerns of where you're going and the terrain. What kit would you bring if you knew you had this extra bit of weight in the front, an extra life, so you need food, all that extra stuff? But how would you pack for a dog? And then how would you pack for yourself to accommodate the weight, that the extra weight that you're carrying up front or in ties it?
I always have a dog first aid kit when I go anywhere because these dogs are idiots and they're just constantly hurting themselves. So the dog first aid kit I've got pared down pretty well, so it's real light. His food, obviously, a water dish if we're not going to be anywhere where he can't just drink out of a river or whatnot.
That's a big one right there, people. Pay attention to that. You just can't drink out of all the rivers because if you're in Utah and it's muddy, you don't want to be drunk drinking mud all day.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about rivers that's nice is most of the time you're somewhere where you don't need to bring water, so that's a huge weight savings.
Gotcha. Here's something too. If you are going to be traveling with a dog, you are going overnight. Make sure you pick the right boat. Having a tie zip option on your boat is going to make a big difference. Just because if you have the dog and you have a full pack up front, good luck trying to see over the bow of the boat and the dog. So it's going to be a really tight fit. So if you find yourself in the future packing a lot of gear and you are bringing dogs with you or kids with you on tandems, make sure you get a tie zip. It's going to help you a lot. It's going to be a really awful fit. You won't have much control, and the experience might not be as good as possible. Also think of the gear you're bringing. Since you have this extra thing up front, an animal, you're going to want your tent. You can't bring your biggest kit with you when you go on overnights with animals. You're going to need to trim it down. Think hyperlight. Really, really good materials that are lightweight, and you're going to have to trim down your sleep system. You can't bring your giant kit. You got to dial it down to what's important where you're at on the field. So what's the scariest experience you've ever had in the backcountry paddling so far with the dog?
With the dog, I was paddling with him in Idaho in this alpine lake that was like half covered in ice still because it was early season, and he was perching on the edge of the raft because he was looking at some ducks, and he fell into the water, and I was freaking out because he was literally like floating in the water with like little icebergs floating by him, so I thought he was going to get hypothermia. So I just dragged him in and just stuffed him under all my clothes. He was fine. But that one
Gotcha. Hey, I got a question from Thailand for two. Big ups, Alex. You're tuning in. Thanks for watching. What's in the dog first aid kit? What's your standard kit?
Let's see. I have Benadryl is a big one. Make sure you ask your vet if it's okay and get the dosage that they need. But that's great for if they have any allergic skin reactions, if they get stung by a bee, if your dog thinks that flying spicy ants are delicious, like these guys, that's a good thing to have. I always have a roll of stretchy gauze wrap and vet wrap, which is that wrap that is elastic and sticks to itself because that's really good for cuts on their legs. I have a syringe to wash out their eyes if they get gunk in their eyes. Just some antibiotic ointment.
Food. Extra.
think that's most of it. I'd kind of base it on the things that happen to them the most, which is minor cuts and scrapes, bee sting, skin stuff. Oh, and also there's these things called paws. They almost look like balloons. They're rubber kind of disposable dog booties, but I can use them a bunch. So if they get a cut on their paw, you just slide it right over their paw, and that protects it. We use those a lot in the winter because sometimes their feet will get cut up on ice.
Gotcha. Everyone, remember, you got to waterproof all your stuff too when you pack raft. You are going to get wet. There's a thing where people think they're going to not get wet pack rafting. In cold water and warm water, somehow you're going to get wet. So make sure your first aid kit, most importantly, is waterproof and that it won't get wet.
Treat your first aid kit like it's a camera.
Yeah, what I do with mine, if I have a tie zippo, if I'm going on a longer trip, I'll waterproof a bigger kit inside, and then on my person, I have a pretty much a waterproof kit that never leaves me, just in case. A light and a waterproof kit, so you're always ready to go. Thanks again, Becca. Tell everyone where they can find you at, and if they have any questions, you can email us directly, and we'll make sure we get that information over to Rebecca, or you can hit her up on Instagram. Tell her where they can find you.
I'll talk about pack rafting all day, and I'll talk about dogs all day. So just if you have questions, just hop into my DMs and ask.
Cool. Well, thanks again. Big ups, Tristan. Big up, Hobbs. And also you, Becca. Thanks so much for all the work you guys do for us. We're having a strong 2020. Pack rafting is growing in America. And thanks for all the support on behalf of my team at the Kokopelli staff and our affiliate team and our ambassador team. Thanks so much.